the fact that you want to work with Excel. I mean, you know Excel, most probably you use it already, but there are some things that you will have to activate, make sure it's switched on to be able to navigate properly and to be able to um, work around your Microsoft Excel a little bit better. Then I'll also share with you some AI components in Microsoft Excel, which, oh, sorry, Elmarie, that's your slide. Starter tools, accounts, there you go. It just went back, sorry. Analyzing data tools, which also provides a lot of information about pivot tables and graphs, which I will explain. Using table formats that can make your life so much easier, because that's the whole purpose of this session. First of all, to demonstrate, then to make you aware of what you maybe don't know, and to try and share a couple of tips and tricks and making life easier for you. As I've mentioned in the Microsoft Word, it's quite challenging when it comes to Word and Excel. PowerPoint is going to be a little bit easier, but it's challenging to decide what to show and what not to show because there are so many tips, tools, features within Microsoft Excel. Even more so than in Microsoft Word. And you may know about it already, so that's what makes it a tricky part of the presentation. You don't know who knows what in the session, but hopefully all of you will get at least one or two things of the hour out of your day that you spend with us, and we are highly grateful for that you are here to share your time with us. So what I've done is I've picked a couple of tip, tools, and tricks based on my clients' recent needs and requests to me. So that's why I've included the analyzed data, which is, of course, AI driven. And the emphasis is definitely on AI for these 12 masterclasses as far as possible. Table formats, and then I just want to explain to you sort of the formulas and the functions, which is a huge part of Microsoft Excel, and where this whole function argument box fits in, which I feel in training and also consulting with my clients helps them a great deal if they can work with that. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. Then when we talk about the function argument box and using the functions, interesting enough, when you work with Microsoft Word and you want to change the case, let's, for example, say everything is in capital letters and you want to change it to all small letters, so uppercase, lowercase. You just select, you click a button, and it's done. In Excel, it's a total different story because Excel is not a word processing program. It's a spreadsheet program. And Excel consists of mainly formulas and functions, which means if you want to change the case, upper, lower case, let's say you start working in a company or a business and they already have a spreadsheet and all is in capital letters. I personally don't think that's very cool. So I would like to change the case to all small letters, or what also used to be called in Word, they call it sentence case, proper case in Microsoft Excel. There is a function you can use. It's not one click, it's a couple of clicks that you can change the case. Now, on this link that Elmarie will put into the chat for you guys, you can go and click on the link and you can download. I'm not going to discuss this today. A step-by-step guide. It's a free download. Just go and put it in your cart. You don't have to pay for that. It's a giveaway where you can have step-by-step um, steps with screenshots on how to, in Microsoft Excel, change from lowercase to uppercase, vice versa. So go and enjoy that on us. We're sharing that with you. And that also shows you a little bit more about the functions in Microsoft Excel. So that's what we'll be doing today, sharing a couple of tips and tricks with you. But as promised, oh yeah, here's the free download. You'll notice when you click on that link, you'll get to this screen and you can just download that on us. Cool. So, as promised, let me just jump to the previous screen. There you go. I'm going to show you the account, which is the important part where you should be logged in. And you believe me not today. I've said this a couple of times. It sounds like makeup stories. Just now, I'm actually not even done. A client contacted me as I walked out of the previous session. My Microsoft doesn't want to work. I can't get it open, blah, 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 whole story. I logged into his account, and what happened? He went and changed after I've set it up his Microsoft account's login details. And I was struggling and saying, why? The package did not expire. What is the story? And I went into their main Microsoft account, which I set up for them. I bought the license, I renewed the license for them, and nothing is wrong. So when I went in and I went to file account, let me go there. Let me go there. You open your Microsoft Excel, you go to file account as we've done with Microsoft Word. It's right at the bottom left-hand corner. Please make sure that this is the login details of the Microsoft product you bought. So when I went to this option, user information, looked at that, he has another email address signed in there, which means that license, that email address is not linked to the Microsoft package that they have. That's why I couldn't get in. So he maybe tried to log in or something, logged in with a different account. It doesn't have a Microsoft subscription or a proper license. So now I have to go and uninstall that or sign out, restart, sign in with the new one, and hopefully that will work. But I just didn't get time to do that before I started off with you. So that just goes to show it's not a makeup story. It's the honest truth. Sometimes people very, very much struggle with that. Cool. Why I'm here, those of you who attended the previous session, please go to Microsoft Word as well. But you can either with one subscription license, go to either Word or Excel or PowerPoint or even Outlook. If you don't use the new Outlook, it works a little bit different. And we'll talk about that when we get to Outlook. But go to any of these three apps at least, you will find this option, File, Account, and just below where it indicates to you which Microsoft product you're using. And here you can see whether you use the personal or the family pack or the business apps, which I showed you, I think, yesterday at one of the sessions. If you go to update options, please go here regularly. Now, I can't tell you go once a week, once a month, once a year, not once a year. Go there on a regular basis. It is supposed to update automatically, but you know how it is with Microsoft and all the other programs. You have to go, it's your responsibility. If it's not updated, you can't blame the computer. So what I have a couple of clients which I do monthly maintenance for. I log onto their computers and I make sure all their apps are updated. Windows, antivirus, Adobe, Microsoft, definitely. You have to update it. Once a month is actually not enough, but it is okay. Because let's say I update it today, right? So then I'm going to update it on where's today? The 10th of May. So that's maybe my update date for everybody. 13th of April, Microsoft issues a brand new update. So it can be, if it doesn't automatically update, that it's going to be outdated. But we can't do anything about that. And that's why I say, we can't do anything about the clients that you do monthly maintenance for. But please go and check this. File option, a file account. Make sure you logged into the correct account. You may not have that problem if you only have one Microsoft account. And go and do the update. You update now. Once you click on update, close all your Microsoft products. Actually beforehand, programs, actually beforehand, but then the one that you are logged into, like I'm now in Microsoft Excel. Once you click on the update, close the app, but they will prompt you if you didn't. And let the update run. It can take anything from 2 minutes up to 20 minutes or longer, all depending on the update that has been released at that point in time. But make sure you are updated all the time. Now let's go to options, file options. As with Microsoft Word, definitely check whether your ignore words in uppercase is switched off, so it doesn't ignore any uppercase, which is not that a big deal in Microsoft Excel. Make sure that your file safe location is hopefully, preferably, your OneDrive account so that it saves it on the cloud. And then last but not least, the others are not that important in Microsoft Excel. Definitely go to the Trust Center. I'm just going to run through this for the people who didn't attend the previous session. But please, 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 disclaimer, go and check this with your IT person first. It may be company policy that this is not allowed to be switched on. But if you have a single computer and you're not that, or you don't have IT, that's what I always do for my clients. I just go and I enable the ask me instead of blocking. This is now when you want to open a document, especially an email document sent to you guys, if it's a reliable source. Disclaimer too. Don't open unreliable sources or dodgy documents. Do not do that. Please. But then, so the one is ask me, not block it. The other one also as well, there's another one here about that. Protect view, this will be switched on by default. Please go and switch it off, but check with your IT first if that's allowed. And then also, here on the message bar, make sure it's not never, but show. So by default, many of these options are set to block or don't enable or don't show. Please do not do that, because then you'll have problems when you want to open attachments or even documents that you've worked on, that you've created, all depending on what the situation it is at that point in time. Cool. And then last but not least, the protected view. This will be switched on. I hope I didn't touch that yet. Can't remember. But I prefer it to not enable protected view. Otherwise, you're going to get a message bar on top and you have to enable the content, which is not a bad deal. But it's just we trying here to help you to be as productive as possible, to navigate as best as possible. And if you have that switched on, it's going to block you. I told a story on at the previous session where a client couldn't open an attachment and she had never had that problem. And there was nothing wrong with the attachment. I had it forwarded to me. I opened it. It was from a reliable source. It was just one of those days. But even though I set up their computer for them, somehow these settings got back on, and it was one of these enable sessions that was switched off or disabled. In Microsoft Excel, this is an important one. Once again, check with your IT person first. But when it comes to external content, now this is a typical not created on your computer situation. I prefer that everything is switched on. You may differ from me, absolutely, IT people on the line. Enable all data, enable automatic, enable, have the enable switched on, check with your IT. I know I repeat this all the time, but please guys, I don't want to get in trouble here. This is my way of doing, which I find the best for myself and my clients, but I don't want to overrule your existing IT people. They have their own rules here. Okay, and then we also, before we hit into the actual stuff, we also said when it comes to navigating in Word, the same goes for Microsoft Excel, which means have your quick access toolbar. I have to show this for the people who didn't attend the previous session. Have your suggestion, have your quick access toolbar, which will be above the ribbon. This is the ribbon. the one here with all the lovely function buttons. Click on that drop down arrow or expander and let it, or collapser they rather call it, let it show below the ribbon. Why? Because you have this whole area where you can add Microsoft Excel buttons for easy and quick access. So that's quite convenient, believe you me. Instead of you going to look for, where did I find it? Was it on formulas? Was it on data? Yeah, it can be time consuming. You have to remember if it's that little button is on your quick access toolbar because you use it quite often, then you will have the um, you will have it on hand, you will have it close by. Right, so how do we do that? For example, let me just remove this one I want to show you. For example, when you work in Microsoft Word or Excel, oh no, I'm so sorry, in Microsoft Excel, we mainly work with formulas and functions. I'm not saying you have to, but this is mainly what Excel is for. So if you want to have, let's go to this document or spreadsheet or to the sheet. If you want to have your formulas to show, reason for that is you want to see which formula is used in that particular on that particular sheet. And secondly, you do not want to go into that particular cell where the formula is and change it. So on your formulas menu bar, you'll have all these buttons, and one of them, let me just click outside of this highlighted area. One of them will be show formula. So let me show you what it looks like. Before I do that, let me just zoom in a little bit smaller. Otherwise, it's going to kick off the screen. So let's show formulas, and it shows you A, B, C, D, E, and F only has text and numbers. But G and H will show you the formulas used to do the calculations. In this case, it's a couple of names with ages, with cities where they work, with a basic salary. We worked out the bonus. Some people get 40%, some gets 50% bonus. Wow, that's cool. And then we take the basic salary and add the bonus to get to the total salary. Exactly where I've switched it on, I can go and switch it off. There you go. So please don't type in these cells. So anything in column G and column H, don't click there because that consists of a formula. You can also see the formula in, let me just take a sip of water. You can also see the formula showing on your formula bar over there, but if you switch the formulas on. Now, if that is something that you're going to use quite often, why not hit to the formula tab, right click, right mouse button on your formula bar on that particular button, and then go and add it to the quick access toolbar, and there it is. And now you can easily on your quick access toolbar so it's one click instead of two clicks, which saves time. You can go and toggle between switching the formulas on and switching the formulas off. So that's your quick access toolbar. Click over there and you'll notice it says customize your quick access toolbar. You can have all the defaults on. They're not switched on, all of them. You can only switch on what you want, and you can then by right click on a button, you can add to that. Right, so let's start with analyzing data. A lovely AI tool built into Microsoft Excel. Now, as with Word, you will also notice there is a Copilot button that you can use. We have a special session for Microsoft 365 Copilot. That's not your Microsoft Copilot, which is available for free on the web. This is a built-in function on Microsoft Excel. Not dealing with that today, although very similar to what we're going to use now, believe me or not. This is very, very handy. What do we have here? We have here a list of products: headphones, keyboards, mouse, laptops. We have different salespeople. For example, Hannah Lee sold two of the headphones in her area to her clients at a unit price of 619, and she sold it on, this is a little bit impossible. That is very impossible. Let's change that to the past very quickly. So yes, that's the sale date. So this is in a date format. This list is quite convenient to have. Microsoft Excel typical data. But we would like to know, for example, without doing a lot of functions and formulas here, we would like to know what is the average number of units sold per products. So there are lots of, for example, keyboard. Bob sold some keyboards. Hannah also sold some keyboards. Bob again sold some keyboards on different dates, different salespeople, different dates. So, what is the average number of units sold per product? We're going to ask the Analyze Data tool to do that for us. We can do it. We can sort, we can put in a formula or a function to get that. If we sort, we can do a sum, or we can do an average with that. It's equal average. But no need for that, guys. Ask artificial intelligence to help you with this. I just click anywhere in my set of data, absolutely anywhere. Don't have to highlight anything. We go to the Home tab, and there it is, the Analyze button as I've indicated over there. So let me just remove that. Analyze data, and what it does, it opens a pane on the right-hand side with different analyzed options and a space where you can put in your own question. So what we have is percentage of the total unit price. There you go, the column D, for each product, column A. So let's see. Click on it. You don't even have to think. AI suggests something to us. It gives us a chart. This is not a normal chart. This is a pivot chart. So if you remember on my spreadsheet, on my presentation, I said to you, we're going to look at analyzed data. And I also there mentioned pivot tables and graphs. Now, pivot tables, when I mention pivot tables, people go like, what? And they immediately, no, we don't use that. We're not going to use it. What is it about? It's so easy accessible nowadays with the analyze data option, because it analyzes the data mainly in pivot tables or pivot graphs. So it takes the data, and it's sort of best way for me to say summarize, condense it. The grand word is pivot. So it takes the table, the set of data, and it pivots it for you, summarize it, sort it, get some nice information around that. And I'll show you another method that you can do that as well, or something similar to that. So without you using the pivot function, without you using the graph function, it's combined. You don't even have to activate it. You just ask the analyze data, artificial intelligence, to do it for you. How's that? You can either look at it, so it's a percentage of the unit price per product, or you can insert the pivot chart. There you go. It puts it on a brand new sheet. Here is the pivot table. As you can see, it put all the different products together. And here is your pivot chart. So let me just hit back to this and close the analyze data. So I want to show you, sorry, it put it right in the end. I want to show you, if you select the data, you don't even have to do that, and you sort it. Let's sort it by column A. Sort A to Z, but on my quick access toolbar, I have a similar button. Once again, 1 click, 2 clicks, save a lot of time. Here you can see you have 2 cameras sold, 2 different dates were cameras sold by 2 different salespeople. Chargers, look at these. A lot of headphones. Keyboards are quite popular, looks like. And mouse. Who use mouse these days? But okay, cool. Hopefully some people still do. No problem with that at all. So a lot of, is it mouse, mice? Yeah, I always struggle with that. A couple of salespeople there on different dates. So instead of doing that, but then you still have to do the calculation and filter. You just go and ask, analyze data. What was our question? Let's see if we can paste this in here. So we're going to ask our own question this time. We can use the suggested questions. Just going to activate my keyboard so I can do a copy and paste. There you go. There you go. What is the average number of units sold per product? Yes, it took the whole one. So I just send it off as you would send off a WhatsApp, and it will tell me, oh, can't find that answer. Oh, okay, that's one answer I got from this. But all right. No, something is wrong here. Let me just do this again. Oh man, this is something you don't want to happen to you. Yeah, it has selected the data. I selected the data. All right, let me just do one more try. Quick try here. Analyze the data. Yes, go for it. Oh, yeah, there it works. Okay, guys, we're working with a computer here. Show the average. This is cool. Show the average units sold by product. It gives you a pivot table once again. When it gives you a pivot table, it actually takes the pivot table from the pivot chart, pardon me, from the pivot table. So let's insert this. And here it is. Here's your pivot table without you even doing anything. Let me just close there. There you go. And here is your pivot chart. And it condensed everything for you and it shows you the average of the units sold. I have another example. Let me just quickly get there. There are different ways to get there, but this is a fail-proof one. That is just to show you. Here I have um, first time, I'm going to use this exact spreadsheet a couple of times. First name, surname, age, city, basic salary, bonus, and total salary. Exactly what I had. Oh no, I showed you this with the previous example. Show formulas. So here we had the sales figures, and here we have basic salaries and so on. Once again, I can go show formula, and it shows me, if I just zoom in a little bit, it shows me the bonus and the total salary. So you've seen this before. Now let's go and click anywhere in the set of data. On my home tab on this ribbon, I go to the button, Analyze Data. It opens the Analyze Data with a couple of suggested questions as well as already suggested graphs. That's how intelligent Microsoft Excel is. It even has 9 more results. So let's click on that and see what it looks like. There you go. So it looks like the majority are charts. It's either normal charts, standard charts, and then also I saw a couple of pivot charts here, didn't I? Yes. Oh, here's a pivot table. Perfect. So I click, it will insert the pivot table on a brand new sheet. So there you go. And here it is. It has pivoted it all because there's a couple of people in Durban. There's one person in Cape Town, 2 people in Joey's, 4 people in Piet Retief, and it gives me the actual city with the 4 people with the average age of all of them. I don't know what I'm going to do with that set of data, but okay, it is available for us. And even the total age, I don't need that definitely, but this is what the analyzed data do. Maybe that's not exactly for you. So let's rather go and ask, let's go back to our data. And this will be my last example before I show you um, tips and tricks and AI stuff. So let's go and check this one. Basic salary, frequently. Not too sure what I will do with this. Okay, age again. Age is not that important. Oh, here's the basic salary. Let's insert this chart. Just to show you, it took the column F and it gives us a chart, which we don't have to do. We don't even have to know how to do it. That's the X. This is to me as a trainer an amazing thing because I don't have to train you how to do this. You don't have to put in the effort. You can just click on analyze data and there it is. If you don't want the chart on the very same sheet as the data, you go to the chart design tab, which appears when you clicked in a chart. Let me just show you. Click out of the chart, then that tab or menu bar menu is not available. When I click in the chart, yeah, on the chart, in the chart, then that is available. I can go to chart design, and on the chart design tab on that ribbon is a button called move the chart. It's going to move it into a new sheet. I can name the sheet even if I like. Click on OK, and there you have it. Totally on its own with a couple of options here on top where you can switch the two row and column data. You can choose another layout, maybe a little bit more bold or thinner or whatever the case may be. But that is sort of all ready for you and you can exactly see what you can and cannot do. Cool. So let's jump back to our um, presentation. I know I'm not showing this in full view. Um, Table formats. So that was our analyzed data. Remember, this is a demonstration session. So let me go and show you the table formats. That's also something that I would recommend you do with every set of data. Recommendation, because it gives you so much more usage. I call it the time saver. This is your set of data. You are familiar with this. Let me close that. At this point in time, once again, how many people in the first column, the first name, the last name or surname, the age, the city, and the salary. Not formatted at all at this point in time. So instead of you going bold and italic and maybe, oh, not really italic, it doesn't matter, make it colors to let some data stand out. You can, for a number of reasons, this is a time saver, go and insert on this set of data a table, which will in the end, I'll show you now how to do this, will in the end look like this. Okay, but maybe these are not your colors, but you can change that. And it immediately, when you activate the table function on your set of data or insert at the table, it will give you a couple of drop-down arrows where you can do some filtering and a little bit more. And let me show you. Okay, so let me hit over to the blank sheet with the data only. I can click anywhere in the sheet. I don't even have to highlight. We used to highlight or select the data always, but it's not even necessary anymore. Excel is intelligent enough to pick up, if I click here, it's most probably the data that I want to use, but it also asks you, are you sure? You can change it if you want. On the Insert tab, you will have an option to insert pivot table. Don't even have to do that. AI do it for you, analyze data. But the one I want to concentrate, show you today, the extra option is table. So insert table, it select all the table of the set where I am pointed to, my cursor is pointed to. It asks you, are you sure you want to do A1 up to F21? So it's column F, row 21. And you can also specify whether your table has headers, name, surname, age, and so on. You can switch it off if it doesn't, but in this case it does. You can select fewer data if you want. We're just going to take whatever it gives us because that's what we want to use. And immediately it changes it. But it also gives you a table design extra tab because you are now dealing with table. And over here, if you really don't fancy those colors, you can go and change your own colors. And as you hover over the options, it will view it or show it to you. Sure, some of the colors are quite bright. I sort of like green nowadays, but in any case, let's not fiddle about the colors. Let's just go for a very basic orange. Oof, no, this is too bad. Let's go for green. Let's go for green. Also, quite a bright green. Okay, so what? So what? Now I have it formatted, saved me a little bit of time. So it's been formatted on different colors, full colors, and so on, color, and it's also been formatted, or the filter switch has also been switched on. So let me show you on the filter. Oops, there you go. Filter's being switched on. So that is being done for us. But what else can I do? So when I go back and I click and I have a look at this, many of your tabs or menus will end at help. Mine has an Acrobat Adobe Reader or Adobe package added to it. But never mind, if yours end on help, perfectly fine, no problem whatsoever. When I click within my table, I get an extra tab. The same happens when you click in your graph or anywhere else, or in your pivot table, you have extra tabs on top. And please go and click on them because it allows you extra options to do with that particular selected area or selected object. When you have a table inserted, you can, for example, and it's the only one I'm going to demonstrate to you, have total row, which gives you an extra row at the bottom with the total of all the salaries. It only takes that one. You can always change it. But what I want to show you, once you click in that answer, in the total amount, it gives you the drop down arrow, which saves a lot of time, where you can change the average to be calculated, or it can count. Yes, there are 20 people working there for all their salaries being calculated. The minimum, so the guy with the lowest salary, the maximum, the person with the highest salary. So that's what you get when you insert a table, a normal table, not a pivot table. The table stays the same, but it's a little bit formatted for you. Okay, so that's a demonstration. That's why you may feel it goes a little bit fast. Something very intelligent in Microsoft Excel. Instead of you switching on the filter button or filter option as we have here, so let me show you. We're going to filter, switch everything off, and filter with all the Durban sales, or all the Durban employees. Okay. It's just been shared. That's why it's giving us this. Oh, goodness me. There you go. So instead of you filter this, which works perfectly fine, but then this is a temporary filter. Okay, the others is also temporary. There's another way around that. But instead of having it all switched on, you can just go with a normal set of data, no tables activated here. Go and click, right click, for example, on Pretoria. Here are some steps for you if you forget. Right click on Pretoria and then have it filtered. There you go. Filter by cell value, which is Pretoria. Cell color, so even if you have it conditional formatting switched on, which I'll hopefully show you as well. So we're just going to say filter by selected cell value. Oh, sorry. Okay, let me just say see everyone. And it filters it for you. Saves a lot of time, and you just want it, as you can see, the other columns are not filtered, but this particular one is filtered. Intelligent option in Microsoft Excel. Then, fairly new. In Microsoft Excel, you have now can have a date picker, but it's only at this point in time available in the online version. So let me hit over to the online version. Here it is. When you have a cell with a date in Microsoft Excel, is intelligent enough to think, which most probably going to happen, that you want to change the date. So if you double click in the cell, any cell with a date, it shows the date picker for you. I don't want to say brand new, fairly new, but really a new feature. I think it came out last week. It's not last month, pardon me. It's not yet available. I haven't tested though, I must admit. Not yet available in the desktop version, but also something very, very handy to use. Conditional formatting, also intelligent. Excel can pick up that you want to sort. I want to where am I now? Format on a certain condition. I just want to check my, okay, I'll get to that. Just want to check my time, what I still have to do with you guys. Okay, let's go to conditional formatting. Once again, I have the same set of data. I want to format, let's say, everybody that has an age higher than 35. So what I do manually, I do not have time for this, and it's unintelligent if there's a word like that. I can go and check. Okay, cool. Oh, the human factor is such a huge thing. Yeah, 65 is above, so I'm going to go to highlight that on my home tab. And yeah, that's also above 35. No, 35 is not above 35. 60 is about, guys, you get the story. That is not what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask the function conditional formatting, here it is, on the home tab to do this on my behalf. So I'm just going to select this column. I click on D, so it selects the whole column, right through to row 1 million and something, really, so many. Conditional formatting, and I'm going to choose the very first function, greater than. So it needs to format whatever is specified. So greater than, um, older than 35. So here we go, greater than, and we're going to say 35. And what must it do? You can even see it happening. It must, how must it be formatted? It must be formatted with a red text. Let's just do red text. Click on OK, and there it is. All the ages, let me just zoom in a little bit. Red is not, maybe not showing well. All the ages above 35 with, how many was it? 1, 2, 3, 4 clicks. And that has been selected for you. All of those. Okie dokie. Now let's have a look at functions. It's not enough time for functions, I would say, but let me show you. Let me show you. So how this works is the following. Functions, I divide into a couple of categories. First of all, if you have two amounts or three amounts, you can select and you can go to your AutoSum function, and it will automatically add those three amounts for you, those three numbers for you. That's one category. That's what I refer to. Second category is if you want to, instead of adding all three numbers, you maybe just want to add two of them. So you would go to equal sign, click, plus, click. That works exactly like a calculator. So I'm skipping the middle amount or value. So that's a second set of functions where you go with the equal, very much like working with a calculator. The beauty of this is there are no human factors involved because you click on the cell and whatever the value of the cell is will be calculated. So if you go, for example, to 76 and you change that to 66 and you enter the amount, the total will change accordingly because one of the factors used was what is it? M3. Right, so that's the second set that you can use. The third set would be something like equal, minimum, double click on minimum function to activate the function, go to select all three of those, press enter, and minimum will take out whatever is selected, the smallest amount. That's the minimum function. You can also do equal max. It shows all the functions starting with ma. Double click on max, not any of the others. Max, of course, will be your highest amount or your highest value of the selected cells. Double click, and then I select those three. I don't include the total. I mean, that will be ridiculous. And I go, and it picked the highest amount. Now with analyze data, if you can recall, it showed me the average age, but it showed it in a way that I don't know how I'm going to use it, but that's me. So even if you go equal sign, you click where you want the answer and you go average, just start typing the function. You double click, select those three, enter, and between those three people, I could have used this column. I don't know why I'm on this side. Between those three people, the average age is 62.33. Wonder how many people are there. Okay, so I'm going to take this away completely. Let me take this completely away. So the first set of formulas and functions is the AutoSum. I put it in its own category because I think it's totally amazing to have that function. Second set will be then to use it as a calculator, only use it on the spreadsheet. Third set would be to start with an equal sign, start typing the function, and then double click on it to activate, select whatever you need to be calculated in that regard. But then, I'm in Stellenbosch, so we have the university here, as you know. So I often get mostly parents phoning me. My child is in I can't remember what they call it, something IT class, but it's just like Word, Excel, and so on. And the lecturer goes like so fast and they can't keep up, or they do not understand these functions and formulas. They never used it apart from minimum, maximum, average, maybe only average. Can I help them? So what happens is they have these quite complicated functions that they need to, I don't know why the university does this, but they need them to type out the function. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it's just totally ridiculous. That's the best I can describe that. To use that function where if you have the function argument box to help you. Now, what do I mean by the function argument box? Let me just get rid of this. Over here, I have, okay, let me just remove this because this is already done. So I'm just going to clear the content. There you go. I would like to know who is above 65. So I'll need to look in this column. Everybody above 65, I need the word pension to be specified there. Everybody not above age 65, I just need the word not over 65 or not applicable. So instead of me, once again, as explained a couple of minutes ago, checking it out and see how am I going to do that, I can just as well make use of huge set of different functions. If you hit to the formulas tab, you'll notice there's financial functions, logical functions, text functions, and so many of them. Today's purpose is just to at least show you one, which I'm going to do now. And one of the functions that I find personally most useful, and also my clients over the years, is the if function. I could have chosen anyone because there are so many. So I'm going to ask Excel, if this age is more than 65, you know the more than sign, then you must do something. I want the word pension. If it's not above, it must just be, it can be Piet Pompies, guys, not applicable. So let's go. Or just not. Let's just say not. So we go, and instead of typing it all out, because that can be quite complicated and confusing, I go to my function, insert function option, and I go and search for if. So I just type it and I click on go, shows me the if, and here it is, the function argument box that I refer to. And believe you me, it helps a lot. So what needs to be tested? This is a demo only. Okay, so I'm going to go quite fast. What needs to be tested? This cell. So we're working in the first row. Well, the second row, but the first row with data. That needs to be tested. Okay, I'm going to change my story because that is 65, so it can be a little bit confusing. I'm going to say everybody younger than 35. Let's do that. So we test that cell, so it puts 2D in there. Less than is this one, less than. And what age? 35. Okay, so if it is true that that cell contains data with lower or younger than 35, what would I like to show words calculation in that particular cell? So I just want to use the word, I can't think of anything proper now, young. Say young. I mean, people younger than 35. Oops, my caps lock is switched on. It's definitely young. Definitely. Yeah, okay. Seeing that's my age is increasing on Saturday. 35 is very young. Okay, then if it comes that that cell's value is not less than 35, so it will be 36 and higher. Let's just say old. Sorry, guys. Sorry. It's just I can't think straight now because it's only a couple of minutes left. That's my function argument box. I know, I should have, let me do that. I don't have to because it's a standalone, but let me just put that in inverted commas. There's a very fancy word for that as well. So it's testing D2 if it is, no spaces, less than 35. If it's less, it's young. If it's not less, it's old. Just bear with me there. Sorry for the example. Click on OK. There it is. And what I can do now is I can just go click and drag, copy the function down, that particular answer. So only do it for the first row. Or I can even double click. It doesn't always work. But if I find my copier or my fill handle at the bottom of that particular cell with the answer, I double click. Yes. And let's have a look. I hope you can see this. But what I'll do is I'll just copy this whole function that I don't have to type. Poor university students, they have to do this all on their own. And the moment I show them the function argument box, plain sailing, because it makes a lot of sense. Even though they have to type it out, at least now they understand it. Okay. Oh, no, I don't want to. Sorry, I clicked on the wrong one. So I'm just going to insert a text box and paste the function that I've copied and increase it a little bit. I have a couple of minutes to do that. Let me just zoom in a little bit so I can expand this. So instead of you typing that, I mean, if you see this, it's like, what? How do I use this? If you use the function argument box, which there are many of, plain sailing. That's my story.